Okay, so we took a month off, but we are back with another UFO roulette. We have 10 items left, so... What was that? Hey! What are you doing? Hey! Stop! You can't just push me out of the way! I'm afraid we're going to have to push that back another month. Anyway. Okay. So I know I started doing UFO roulette and I've abandoned it now for the second month in a row. I promise I'll get back to it, but I made this chemise that I really want to wear, and I had a really good idea for an easy project that would go well with it and be a very festive autumn garment. So here it is. A Pinafore. I know, you're on the edge of your seat, right? Never saw a Pinafore video on YouTube before, huh? Point taken. But you never saw me do a Pinafore before, right? Of course you haven't, because I've never done one. So let's get to it. I opted to make this in linen. I love the look of linen, but the feel, not so much. This won't be an issue though, since we have the chemise underneath. Also, because of the chemise, we won't need to make a lining. I looked at so many patterns, both paper and online, but nothing was really what I was looking for. So, we're winging it. Lucky for me, pinafores are fairly simple. I'm going for a gathered skirt, but I would like it to flare out just a bit, not stay so close to my body. To achieve this, I took my waist measurement, divided it in half, figured out the length I wanted, and moved the bottom out on either side by 5 inches. This pattern is 1/4 of the final skirt, so for the front I will cut it on the fold, and for the back I'll be sewing the panels together with a zipper in the middle. I know, it's out of character for me to use a zipper, but I decided on this for 2 reasons. 1, I need to be more comfortable making garments that fit me without the aid of elastic, and 2, I would like to show you how to add a zipper, because I do know how, I just never, or at least rarely, do it. We're going to add a short zipper, since the fullness of the skirt is going to allow for plenty of room outside of the hip area. We'll put a button at the top as well for extra closure. If you're ever using a zipper, you'll want something at the top to help secure it. You may have noticed this on clothes that you own. We want the grain to run this direction when we cut out our skirt pattern. The straight grain runs parallel to your selvage edge, and in general, as much as possible, you want this to run vertical on your garment. I made this pattern without a seam allowance on purpose. I get a lot more use out of knowing where I need to sew, since that has to be more exact than the amount of fabric that you use for your seam allowance. There's more flexibility there. I also doubled up my fabric for this cut for maximum efficiency. In the event that I want to use these pattern pieces again, I was sure to mark my measurements, as well as noting that there is no seam allowance. Yeah, I had the camera off when I cut the top piece. There it is. Whenever gathering is explained, it always says to create 2 parallel lines and pull 1. I usually only do 1, but this time I did 2. I can't say I noticed much of a difference, so I'm still not really sure why you're supposed to do 2. Evening out the gathers used to be my least favorite part, but it really isn't so bad. I aim for the length I need it to be, and I make sure the middle is in the middle, if that makes sense. Overall, if you have those covered and do your best, it really won't be noticeable if the gathers aren't 100% perfect. I sewed up the side seams, hemmed the bottom, and it was onto the pockets, because, of course, there will be pockets. My gathering thread broke. I sewed over my gathers to try and secure them in place to prevent that from happening again once I fixed it, but more on that in a bit. I'm not a fan of invisible zippers since they're not as sturdy, so I'm just going to use a regular zipper. I saw Ariel from Ha's Ariel Costumes use this trick, which she called the lazy way of doing it, and I've been anxious to try it out. Sew the seam closed, sew the zipper to the closed seam, and unpick the seam to reveal the zipper. This seems like the smart way to me, especially since my zipper seams always come out a bit wonky. Since the pockets were cut on the fold, I sewed them to each panel and flipped them inside afterward. I didn't sew the sides together at this point, so that I could get a good measurement for the opening size. Afterward, I zigzag stitched and pinked the edges to further prevent fraying. This is the situation right now. I have the skirt all together, and as you can see, it's a little bit big, and that's because when I was doing it, for some reason the threads keep coming loose. I don't know if it's the linen or the thread I'm using or what, I don't know. But you can see over here, maybe you can't see, I don't know. It's not as gathered. Some of the gathers came out. But when I do the waistband, I'm just gonna pull it in a little bit. We have time to fix that because the waistband is going to be the right size. I'm gonna make the waistband now. That's probably gonna be the last thing I get to do tonight. The pockets I have, they're just completely open now. I need to seal up a little bit on the side, but I want to use my phone to measure that. My phone's downstairs. I don't feel like going to get it. I'll do that tomorrow. That's not a big deal. It's just, it's all open now, so if I put anything in it, it would just fall out the side. Other than that, I think it looks pretty good. It's definitely the amount of gather that I want, and it's definitely, I know I'm wearing jeans, but use your imagination, the shape that I want. So far, so good. For the waistband, I want to make it an inch longer for the button, and then I want to kind of taper it. I noticed when I make waistbands, I don't like that they sit flat, and I'm not flat there. I taper, so I'm just gonna go like a ½ inch in on each side, and that should account for an inch difference, and I think that should be good. We'll see, but we'll figure it out. Okay, waistband. Listen, I know I'm cutting the waistband, and you know I'm cutting the waistband, but whoever's idea it was to film from this angle should be fired. After sewing the waistband together, I set to work flipping it inside out. And here's the moment I realized it was a mistake, but decided to keep going anyway. Yay for being stubborn to the point of inefficiency. Definitely could have done that differently. Definitely should have. It's done now. I should have left it open, sewn it, then folded it over, and sewn it. Tomorrow. Alright. So, it is the next day. It is Columbus Day. I have the day off, and I don't really feel like doing anything. It's about 2 o'clock, and I have been in bed with my dog just about all day. I did get up to make this, I guess it's bread pudding. I just kind of threw stuff in a cup and put it in the oven. It's good, but I'll be mad at myself if I don't finish the Pinafore today, so we are going to try and do that. At this point, I did take the thing that I cut out for the waistband yesterday, and I did unpick it last night, and I cut off the ½ inch that I was talking about. And about that, so with the waistband, I know what you're gonna say. You're gonna say, that won't be a problem if you cut it on the bias. But you know why I don't want to cut it on the bias? Because that seems so freaking wasteful. Maybe once I'm better at pattern planning, about where to put it on the fabric when you cut it, maybe then I will cut things on the bias. Until then, I hate doing it. It uses up so much fabric and makes so much of your fabric just not usable. So anyway, we'll put the waistband on as though it's a skirt. We'll add the pinafore to that, afterward. And then we'll do the straps, the button. You know, when I say it like this, it sounds so easy, but I mean, I worked on it all day yesterday and I didn't get very much done, but... This is really good, by the way. Anyway, to work. For the top of the Pinafore, we're going as basic as possible. A square. I saw someone on YouTube make a Pinafore this way, and they ended up with some gaping in the middle. So to prevent that, I'm going to test it out before putting the permanent stitches in. I'm thinking it's just an issue of too much fabric between the straps. I did 2 lines of top stitching on the top and on the waistband before adding the buttonhole and button to the back. So at this point, I have a fully functional skirt. Next step will be to add this and make the straps, and once I size up the pockets to fit my phone, then it's done. Yeah, it's done. Way to go, me. I think that looks about right for where I want it. We'll add that.
One eternity later.
So, it is now 8 o'clock at night. Where'd the day go, right? Took a look at my design and other pinafores of similar design. Talked about how there was a video I had watched of somebody who made a pinafore kind of like what I'm making, and it gaped in the front, and so they put a dart there, and it didn't look great. And I thought that it gaped because of the placement of the straps here, but upon closer inspection, what I think it actually was they crisscrossed the straps in the back, which is good that I looked at that because that's what I wanted to do with this. But if you crisscross them, then it's going to pull the straps this way, and you're going to end up with that. So, I looked at some pinafores that are out there on the market that are just the way mine is. None of them have the crisscross in the back. So, we're not going to crisscross in the back. And honestly, I don't know why I just took like a 3-hour break on this project, because it's almost done. All I have to do is put straps on it. I mean, that's all I have left to do, so let's get to it. Okay, it's been a week since I worked on this, honestly, and it's because when I put it on, to put the straps on, I had that gaping that I didn't want, that I thought I could fix by strap placement, which I could, but they would have to be, like, in here. I didn't want that. But I found that if I pinched some fabric down here, pulled it down, then I only had to pull it in that much on the sides. And I think that looks pretty good. So once I sew that up, get the pockets sewn, then it is time for the next step. And that is, I wanted this to be a fall-themed pinafore, so I bought this guy. It's iron-on. I wasn't sure if I would like it. I think it looks cute now, but if I ever don't like it, I looked up how to remove iron-on transfers, and if it leaves residue, I'll just put a pocket there. So yeah, this sewing, and then this, and then it's time for what y'all thought I was gonna say. Including me, I thought I was gonna say that too. The reveal. Yeah, sorry this looks like a TikTok video, but I had a Christmas present showing in the mirror while I was filming, and this was my quickest solution without refilming. Whoops. Well, we are... Hi. Yes. Come here, cuddle with me. We are back from the pumpkin farm. It is my bedtime, but I wanted to just film this outro real quick while I was still wearing this, still like dolled up. Thank you for coming along on this journey with me. It was kind of fun to make something that is a little bit more everyday wear, and it's comfortable. It has amazing pockets. I can fit a water bottle. Water bottle. This is 20 fluid ounces. 20 fluid ounces. Comfortably even. Like I can sit down. It's still in there. That is amazing. It's so liberating having pockets like that when you go places. You don't have to have a purse. You don't have to worry about where your phone is. You don't have to worry about setting stuff down in some spot and forgetting about it. Anyway. My biggest complaints about this are I did make it a little loose, but that goes back to my fear that I'm going to make things too tight and I'm not going to be able to wear them. And I'm not crazy about the patch. I think it's too vibrant. I'm not unhappy with it, but I might try to figure out some way to make it a little bit less vibrant. I've looked into some things, but I didn't want to try them before I did the reveal, just in case they didn't work out and I ruined it. The linen is amazing. It is, itchy, but it doesn't matter because I have the chemise underneath. I love the look of it. I think it looks so cool. It's just so flowy and cottagecore, and this was a great project. And I hope you thought so too. If you liked this video, please do give it a thumbs up. It helps YouTube figure out that other people might also enjoy this video, and it helps YouTube figure out what to recommend to you to watch. Everybody wins. And if you'd like to see more aesthetic sewing content, please do subscribe to this channel. We are growing, and I love it, and I would love to see you around for more videos. Until next time. On that note, I'm going to bed.